So good afternoon. I'm just waiting for the presentation to be loaded. Thanks for the PC for letting us take some time to talk about something that's very important to the RIPE NCC and the RIPE NCC management, and of course all of our members. Perhaps I can just get a show of hands so I've got an idea of who I'm speaking to. How many of the people present in the room are a member of the RIPE NCC or work for? Yeah, okay, so most of you. So I think most of you should be interested in having a look at this. So we used to conduct these surveys about every 2 to 3 years. And recently we thought we want to have it a little bit more regular so that we can work it better into our activity plan and our strategy on every couple of years. So we've decided to make it fixed for every 2 years. We think that's about the right balance of not exhausting you with too many surveys while still being able to keep in touch with the changes in our membership. Since we held our last survey 2 years ago, we've actually gained around 2,000 new members. So there's quite a number of new people that we want to hear about, and there's been quite a lot of developments in the internet industry in that time as well, so it's very important to us. As Joachim said in his last slide, we do have quite a number of feedback mechanisms in place, these meetings being one of them, the mailing list, the hallway discussions. We do have quite a few places where we can start to get feedback from the membership, as well as our general meetings, of course. However, this survey lets us reach out to right across our service region to all 9,200 of our members in the 76 countries, and it lets people take the time at a quiet spot at their own rate to have a look through the survey. You can even make the use of translating it if you need to answer the survey. So, and on top of that, your responses stay anonymous. We don't have any idea of what any one person has told us. We use an independent entity, the Oxford Internet Institute, to gather the results of the survey, and they give us back a report in an aggregated format. As I said, we did hold a survey 2 years ago. After the Oxford Institute had a look at the survey, they wrote a very detailed report, which is available at that link at the bottom of this screen. And what they found is a little bit over 50 key findings of areas that we could have a look at improving. And we took each one of those key findings, we gave them, the senior management took around 10 to 15 of those each, and we researched our ability to put those into effect. Some of them were quite small, some of them are quite large, some of them are ongoing. We actually produced a report about 6 months ago on the actions that we took to all of those key findings. So again, if you go to that URL, you can get a bit more explanation about our last survey and the results that came from that survey. Now, to get prepared for the survey, and again, as another form of engaging and getting more feedback from our members, what we do is we organize focus groups. We ask 2 independent consultants we organize the focus groups ourselves, but the independent consultants go and interview the people at these focus groups. So how do we choose the people to get involved? Well, it's a little bit of a mix. We get some people, sort of well-known, active participants of the community. We generally like to have 1 or 2 in each of those focus groups, as well as just randomly selecting members from our database, small, large and medium. We send out about 20 or so invitations to these members, and around 6, 7, sometimes 8 of them will join these focus group meetings, where again, we've got a little bit more time to talk about some of the issues that's concerning them, the issues that they think that the RIPE NCC Management Executive Board should know about. We take some of those suggestions on immediately. We see, wow, that's quite easy to implement. Why don't we just go ahead with it? I've listed a few of those there. One of them is involving students more at our RIPE meetings, which we just did. We invited 6 students to come and join and present on some topics at the RIPE meeting in Dublin. We were requested to contact specific government and LEA representatives throughout our region. They were asking, how come the Ukrainian guys aren't coming to our Brussels meeting and so on. And we went out and reached out to them. So a lot of those were quite easy to implement, relatively low resources. Some of the requests and issues or concerns that came through are much larger, and those ones are the ones we're going to use we did use to help put together the survey, which we launched last week. Just to give you an idea of the cities we went to, there's the list there. It's throughout our region. We went to the Middle East, we went to Ukraine, we went to Moscow. We did something similar in 2011, not as extensive. You can see a little bit of overlap. So when we get around to our next survey in 2015, we're going to look to go to different parts of our region that we've had a little bit less contact with through these focus groups. So the intention is there will always be a couple of cities that are very easy for people to get to, and we'll probably go back there again, but we'll look to really reach out to our entire service region. So the independent consultants have already written a report on some of the findings that they found from those 13 focus groups they conducted over the last, I think it was between November and February. And these are a few of the points that seem to come up. Oops, hang on a sec. Next slide. Okay, so these are some of the points that came up at most of the focus groups that they attended. They did seem to talk about, for everybody, the accuracy of the registry was their prime goal, and this is something we should continue to do, and that was obvious. That always came out as the top request. One thing that did come up quite a few times is they felt there was in the past, a certain lack of engagement when we either initiated or decided to change large projects from a management level. So again, that concern seemed to come forward, and we're going to be asking the rest of the membership in the community to justify or also explain if they're feeling the same concerns as that. They want us to increase transparency and again defend the community and the IRR system. As I said, we went throughout our service region. We did try and we split up our service region into three main areas: the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, and then a bit more of the Western European countries. And while the ones that I talked about on the previous slide came out at all of the focus groups, what we found in some of the regions were quite specific. In the Middle East, they wanted more outreach. They wanted more of the training information localized in Arabic, for example. Western Europe, they were the ones that wanted to see more transparency in the corporate governance of the RIPE NCC and the decision-making process of how we justify starting new projects. Russia and the Ukraine, I know a few of you in the room were part of those focus groups, came out again with a little bit more regional outreach and talked about translations and that sort of thing. Again, we took that on board. We added these questions to the survey. So this, the report that I got from the independent consultants, we will make a summary of that, and that'll be added to the final report once the survey has been completed. So we are going to be adding that, which we haven't done in previous years, because I think it will add a lot of value to that report. So the survey is already open. We opened it last week in Dublin. While obviously our prime interest is the members of the RIPE NCC, we do come in contact with a lot of other people. As you see, not everyone in this room is a member, but we find it very important to gauge your opinion on some of the activities that the RIPE NCC does. So you can either, when you start the survey, you'll be asked a question if you're a member, and then you'll get certain questions if you're any other interested party, and literally anyone can fill this in who has an interest in the survey or the future of the RIPE NCC. You will get a slightly different set of questions. Obviously, some questions won't affect you, things about membership fees and so on. Again, as I said earlier, the survey is anonymous. We will ask if you'd like to be entered in a competition to win an iPad mini or an iPad of your choice. We're going to be giving out one every week. So if you would like to do that, then we'd ask you to enter an email address. Again, that's only something the Oxford Institute will see. We won't see that email address until they pick a winner, and then we'll contact you and ask if you're happy for your email address to be published as one of the winners. But we won't see any of the results that you sent in about the survey. If you're working for a larger organisation, feel free to fill in. Multiple individuals from any one member or any other entity can fill in the survey. It's not limited to one per person, one per member or entity. The survey is going to be open for another few weeks. I believe it's going to be closing the 17th of June. Well, we've got another 3 weeks to go in any case. We will be communicating this via the mailing list. If you go to the services table there, you'll see little cards we've made up that can explain that you can win a prize and a URL to fill in the survey. It takes about 15 to 25 minutes, depending on how many comments you decide to leave behind. So I do realise, and I think it is quite a substantial bit of your time to fill in the survey, but I can assure you that we will use the information that we gather to your advantage. So please get involved. There's the URL. Again, we really need your feedback, and the more feedback we have, the more valuable these surveys are for us and the more we can do with this data. So if you feel there's things that need to be changed in your region, this is your opportunity to be heard. So again, I implore you to fill it in. So are there any questions?
Спасибо, Serge.
Thanks, Serge.
I should add, sorry, Dima, just in case you are interested in winning one of these iPads mini, if you do the survey today, then you'll already be in the draw for the winner of next week. And if you don't win, then we'll keep you in the draw for each week. So the sooner you fill in the survey, the more chances you have of winning a prize. So please fill that in as soon as possible. Thank you, Dima.